What is up, everyone? Good afternoon. I'm gonna say good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is where you are. Hello, and welcome to the Kick Ash Podcast. I am Ashley back here. I'm super excited to be here. I feel like I have not sat down and chatted about wrestling in way too long. Even though it's been maybe, I guess it has been a little over a week, with some traveling and stuff for the holidays. But if you are in the US or you celebrate Thanksgiving, happy belated now Thanksgiving to you. Hope you are good. Hope you had fun with your family, all that good stuff. All my animals are in the room with me here today. And Vixie, the kitty, is messing with the blinds. So if you hear any background noise, that's what that is. So apologies in advance. But yeah, we are going to kind of just shoot the shit here today. Just want to sit down and just kind of bullshit about some wrestling, mainly and probably only AEW today. I was gonna try to do maybe another stream before Survivor Series, War Games, Survivor Series War Games, here on the Kickash podcast to do a little prediction show. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough time here today, but you can always check me out over at Brass Ring Media live here on YouTube on their channel. I am live there every Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, and Vixie is about to walk across the table here in a second. um, let's see if she makes it on camera. She probably will. Her tail will at least. Yep. Watch out. um, but yes, back to the shameless plug. All right, get down. Don't. We're ladies here. We don't expose ourselves like that. Let's. There we go. Anyway, but yes, back to the shameless plug. Saturday mornings live at 10 a.m. Eastern over on Brass Ring Media here on YouTube. Definitely check me out there. I will be doing a prediction show for Survivor Series there tomorrow morning. So yeah, definitely check me out there. But yeah, I'm gonna just jump into some AEW talk here today. I'm not gonna stay. Maybe I'm gonna try maybe keep it close to an hour here or so because I have a lot of shit I gotta do. Gotta work Black Friday tonight, which would be very fun. I'm super excited for it. I know it's crazy, but I love the madness. I love dealing with the crazy ass people. So I have time and I'm here for it. You know. But in regards to AEW, so I'm going to pull up some information. Of course, we're going to just start off with the Ricky Starks of it all. And it's so crazy because I was actually really interested and I wanted to watch the Ricky Starks interview on over at Chris Van Vliet on his YouTube channel, podcast, all that good stuff. Definitely check out Chris Van Vliet if you have not. I will give him a shameless plug. He you would think he may be one of those interviewers like, oh, he's just gonna ask like lowball easy questions, like not really dig in deep or anything like that, but he doesn't. He has a good way of asking the questions that we all want asked without really being an asshole about it or giving the vibe that he's trying to get the scoop or get information or just kind of be like shicey about it. He doesn't have, it's not clickbait material. I guess I would is a better way to kind of sum it up. He's not really that one to go out there and just do an interview with someone just because it's going to be clickbait or anything. Like he actually has a vast portfolio of interviews that he's done, not just in wrestling. So it's really cool and shout out to him. Definitely check out the Chris Van Vliet, Ricky Starks interview that I'm going to be talking about here. And like I said, I was actually just watching it before the whole GCW stuff of it started and the fallout from it trickled over. Just because I really love Ricky Starks, like I'm a big Ricky Starks fan. I remember when he first had that match in AEW against Cody Rhodes, and it was like, who is this guy? Because to be fair, like I hadn't really heard. I think I'd heard his name and like maybe seen him like floating around on Twitter a little bit, but hadn't seen any of his matches or anything like that. And then he came over in AEW, had the match with Cody, and yeah, I was, like one of those things. The rest is history, like people say. Yo, Sean, what up, my guy? What up? What up? Yeah, man, I did make it back. It's a. I just wanted to randomly jump on here. What's up, man? We gotta schedule something. But yes, I'm back from my travels and all that fun stuff. But yeah, dude, I'm happy to see you, man. Happy you popped in here. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Hope you had some time with your fam, and if you're still relaxing. A lot of people are off today. obviously. I'm off for my full time here today. Took that off. Have to work my part time later tonight, which I'm excited about. But yeah, but no, definitely if you haven't watched the interview, Sean, I think it's a little over an hour. With Chris Van Vliet, definitely check that out because Ricky Starks also he has a way with kind of teetering that line between is he in character, is he, is it the real dude or whatever. And I really dig that. I really dig that. And I like that he again now we'll see what happens if and when he does end up leaving AEW, what kind of interview he does, if he's just gonna like do like a tell all type interview, or if he's just gonna give us a little bit of info and just kind of keep it, keep the rest to his chest. But I just the way he kind of gives you the answer without directly saying it, right? Like, for instance, when Chris was asking him about, like, what's going on? Do you know why you're not in AEW? Do you know why I haven't been on TV? Stuff like that. He would just like take a sip of his drink and give a facial expression, and he would say, "I don't know," and like and it's not a bullshit answer. It's an answer that you feel like that's sadly enough the honest truth. He doesn't know why he hasn't been on AEW TV. He stated that yes, he did have a stinger in that match against Top Flight. He got checked out that night and everything was good. He was cleared, if not that night, like the next day or like really like damn near like right after it. So, and that was back in March of this year. So the fact that it's not a health issue, and again, could he be downplaying his injury? Yeah, of course he could be, but my personal opinion, I don't feel like Ricky Starks is that guy to come out here and give a false narrative or a false perception. I feel like he would just maybe not answer it, or I feel like, and again, obviously I don't know the guy, right? And all this could be bullshit or whatever, but I just feel like he would be the type to be like, yeah, like it, we had a difference in opinions or in a difference in character direction or whatever. I feel like he would, or storyline direction. I feel like he would kind of be that type to, again, not especially when he's still on a contract, just go out there and explicitly say like, oh yeah, like me and Tony can't get along on this storyline with Big Bill and stuff like that. Like I don't think he'd be that specific right now, but I think he would at least be like, yeah, it was just an agree to disagree type thing, and we're just trying to figure it out or whatever, and be a little bit more. I don't want to say positive, but a little bit more favorable. Um, but the fact that he has no answer and he's mentioned that before. This isn't like the first time he's actually like addressed this. It wasn't an interview as big as with Chris Van Vliet, but he had referenced before, or he's referenced on Twitter or something, that he doesn't know why he's not being used. And Tony Khan did an interview. This was some months ago now, maybe even at the beginning or right before summer. I forget where, but someone had asked him like, "What's the status of Ricky Starks? Like, is he still with AEW? Like, is he good?" And I remember doing a video on it. I may see if I can go back and I'm not right now, but I might go back and see if I can find it just to get an idea of the time frame. But Tony Khan specifically said he was like, Ricky Starks is great, like he's a great talent, whatever. Everything is great, right? And that he would love to have him back here in AEW. Because I remember sitting there thinking, like, my God, you're the fucking owner. Like, what do you mean it would be great to have him back here in AEW? You're his boss. Like, what am I missing here? Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. So again, that's why I respect Ricky Starks' interviews and his answers in the interview, rather, because yeah, like I'm not expecting him to go out there and spill all the tea, right? While he's still under contract with someone. And again, even when he's not, like I'm not, it'd be cool to get some information, right? Just for all of us. But do I expect him to? Like not necessarily. But I do expect him if and when he does end up leaving, to give us a little bit more, not us, that sounds weird, but to just speak his mind a little bit more and speak his truth. But the fact that he has not been hurt, and Tony Khan has essentially gone on record in the previous interview and stated that, yeah, it'd be great to have Ricky Starks back in AEW. It's like, okay. So, like, there's something in the higher end, in the higher echelon of AEW that is preventing Ricky Starks from being on TV and for whatever reason does not want him to be on TV. And again, another reason why you should check out the interview with Chris Van Vliet is he does ask him about the Royal Rumble appearance and then subsequently him showing up at WrestleMania. And again, it was really shitty too of whoever the employee was at Tropicana Field for the Royal Rumble where they were at this past year. Well, this still the same year. But that employee to record the security footage and take a picture of it and release it online of Ricky Starks walking backstage with Cody Rhodes. Like bro, really? Like you just had to you really had to like make yourself feel better or make yourself feel cool or whatever. Like it's just that was just really really low, and it's just you stuff like that. You don't sit there and you like you may be thinking in the moment, and you don't realize that you could really be fucking with someone's career, or someone's life. And again, Ricky Starks, being the professional that he is, had already gotten that approved. So it was released pretty much for nothing. So that was just really, really grimy of whatever employee did that. So shame on you, man, but do better. But there was a lot of speculation that Ricky Stark, or from that appearance, that Ricky Starks was being held off of TV because of that. And to be fair, that's not a crazy thing to think of or a crazy speculation to have. Just in it, it's not even a matter of okay, like Tony Khan's turning into the next Vince McMahon or Tony Khan's being petty or an asshole or anything like that. It's as a businessman, right? Like you don't want and it does get in, and I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty right now, but it does get a little bit tricky when you boil it down to, because technically not I mean, they are independent contractors, right? They're not Ricky Starks is not an employee of Tony Khan or AEW. He's an independent contractor. So in that sense, he does have more freedoms than that your average employee would. But in the same token, too, you do have to be mindful and just sometimes use common sense. Like, hey, I work for this one promotion. Maybe it's not a good idea if I even go to this other promotion show. Is that fair? Absolutely not. Now, if what he says is true, and we have no reason not to think it's not, Ricky obtained clearance and permission prior. And to be fair, he did everything that he should have done. There goes Callie chasing Vixie. Um, he got his approval prior. It's not like he bought a ticket and was sitting out like front row with the fans and like kind of like hanging out in the parking lot or anything like that. Like no, like he was very mindful to I guess stay on Cody's bus or not even be back. Well, obviously it's backstage, but like more in the parking lot backstage area for the employees and stuff. So it's not like he went out there and tried to make it about himself either times, whether at the Rumble or at WrestleMania. So I don't see how that is Ricky Starks' fault necessarily. Like, yeah, like, would it be best if you probably don't? Yeah, of course. But and again, another reason why I gained a little bit of respect for Ricky is because he's his own man. He's, like if he wants to go do something, if he wants to support his friends, if he wants to be there for his friends, he's going to do it. And this kind of course, when everything broke out on Twitter, this led me back to his page. And I believe it's still his pinned tweet. Yeah, it is still his pinned tweet. Hold on. It was a little video that he had put together. I believe in 2019, maybe. I think it was 2019, right before he got signed with AEW, and it was actually kind of like an introduction to Ricky Starks in a way, which I thought was very very cool and very well done, and so smart. If especially if you're on the indie scene, like if you are an up and coming wrestler, you want something very brief. I think it was like maybe like a 2-minute video. It wasn't long at all, a few minutes at max. But it was just like an introduction kind of stuff and giving you an idea of what kind of character this guy has, what his perception is of himself, and just the vibe. And it was just very well done. But in as it was, I think the girl, because it was like a little sit down interview type thing. The woman had asked him something, and he had mentioned that Ricky Starks is like he's always going to be there for his friends, or he supports his something like that. Essentially, he just referenced that he's like I don't want to say a man's man, but he supports his people type stuff, and it was just it was just really cool for me, and I don't know why, like it really stuck out, and I liked it so much. But I think maybe because it shows that it kind of blurs the lines a little bit too, and it's something so minor of him like always being there for his friends. Like yes, him going to Rumble wasn't anything storyline related, obviously, but it shows that Ricky Starks as a wrestling character is almost him just turned up to what they say about the best wrestlers, right? It's just their themselves and their true self just amplified by like a lot, right? Like it's like when they say like Stone Cold just turned up to like a 10 or 11 type thing. And you can really see who Ricky is at his core, which again, in to make it more and to tie it into an actual storyline, it would make a eventual split or an eventual turn that much more, because Ricky Starks, as to his core, is there for his friends, right? Whether that's on TV or if he's going there to support them. So I think that was a really cool, probably not even intentional tie in there. But I like that because it gives you the fact and the feeling of, rather, that okay, like, we're seeing this dude, and like you can really buy into him more and you can invest into him more, because you have something to attach onto, and you have something to be like, yeah, like that, I would be there for my friends too. Like, screw that. Like, even if I worked for Coke, right? And Pepsi was putting on this great show, and my best friend was gonna be there, and it's sponsored by Pepsi, all that good stuff. But like, I'm an independent contractor for Coke, and I just really want to be there to support my friend. Like, yeah, like I would go do that. I wouldn't be putting myself on blast or like wearing a Coke jacket or anything like that, but I would make it as minimal as possible, right? But I would be there. Sorry, I just hit my desk. But I would be there to support my friends, and obviously that's what Ricky was doing too. So it just gives you another layer and something else, another characteristic and something else just to latch onto him to, and to just go, like, something to latch onto to continue the journey that is Ricky Starks, and the fandom and the support. So yeah, that was a very long-winded and probably unneeded breakdown of him being at the Rumble in Mania. And then Mania was a little bit different. He was in a press box, like one of those like Sky luxury box things. But to be fair, Dustin Rhodes was there as well. And again, they both got clearance. So I think that's a situation where people were, or especially whoever released that footage, was trying to just make it more than what it was, and just really just mess with someone for no reason, really. And leading on to how the aftermath, and so a lot of people, because Ricky Starks was announced for some GCW shows there on Saturday when AEW was in Newark, New Jersey for Full Gear. They were, or GCW rather, had a show not too far away, that they were doing, and Ricky Starks showed up. um so I'm gonna pull up. Let me see if I can pull up the actual quote here too. Oh, and it was just so unnecessary. So almost immediately after the Chris Van Vliet interview dropped, GCW was making their announcements and setting up promotion for Ricky Starks being on. I think it was three of their upcoming shows. One being at the Hammerstein Ballroom as well. GCW wrestler Effie apparently has a podcast and made some comments that were not to Tony Khan's liking. That led to Ricky Starks then being pulled from all GCW shows. And at first, and to be completely fair, at first I was like, "What the fuck? Really? Like really, dude? Like, what could Effie have possibly have said to make Tony Khan want to pull Ricky Starks from the shows?" Before I knew much about it at all, or what really, like, the depth of it, I was thinking like, oh, he's pulled from all independent shows, like, that's terrible, like, like, what's going on, like, I was ready to jump on that bandwagon of like, screw you, Tony, like, what's going on, da 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 da. 1 second. But yeah, I was ready to jump on that bandwagon. I was ready to be like, come on, Tony, like, really, like you really are like kind of veering in and becoming more and more like someone we don't, someone we don't want to mention. But when you actually look into it a little bit more, it's not that at all. It's not, in my opinion, it's not Tony Khan being petty or Tony Khan being give my dog. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna get them out of the room. My dog has this toy and it just drives me nuts. It's a blessing and a curse because it keeps her occupied, but it's just so annoying to hear. It drives me nuts. But yeah, going back to what I was just talking about, it wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't a situation of Tony Khan being petty. Because if Tony Khan wanted to be petty, first of all, he could make it to where Ricky Starks isn't allowed to do any indie dates, and he's literally just sitting at home getting paid to just live, and exist. Which, hey, it's a nice gig, But if you're someone who has the passion for what you do, and especially in wrestling, you don't want to, when you're out of sight, you're out of mind type thing, and that's what makes it really dangerous and really, uh, it messes with your mind, because you start to wonder and fear that the more and more you're not in the fans' eyesight, and on TV or just being out there and getting your name out there, are people gonna care? And are people gonna not necessarily remember you, but like more so are they gonna care when you come back? So in regards to what Effie said, I believe I pulled it up here. Let me see. Dun-dun-dun. All right. We're moving forward. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna and this article is from CagesideSeats.com with Sean Reuter, so shout out to them. Gonna kind of skim through it since the news came out the same day. I guess I'll just read the whole thing. And I'll go ahead and share. All right. So again, shout out to CagesideSeats.com and specifically Sean Reuter. I hope I'm pronouncing that right for the article here. And there's Effie. So if no one, or if you're not familiar with Effie, that is our guy Effie right here. And it's in regards to their title, of course, is the Effie quote that allegedly led AEW to pull Ricky Starks from GCW. All right, as you've probably seen around the Wrestle Web, including our latest in Rumor Roundup, AEW has pulled Ricky Starks from his planned appearances with Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, of course, since the news came out the same day as an interview in which Starks talks about not being used by AEW despite being healthy. It seems logical to assume the move was about him. And we can't say with any certainty that whatever issues exist between Ricky and his bosses at AEW weren't a factor in the decision, but that's not the reason being reported. That would be some comments made by GCW star Effie on the November 18 edition of his Weekend at Effie's podcast. Okay, so there's the podcast. Go and check that out. He wasn't the first person to comment on AEW booking the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City from December 20th to the 22nd for Ring of Honor's Final Battle pay-per-view and holiday episodes of Collision and Dynamite within a month of January 19's The People vs. GCW show. On a recent edition of the Business Pod, GCW owner Brett Lauderdale talked about how AEW was breaking an unwritten rule by booking the venue within 30 to 60 days of another pro wrestling company before moving on to discuss GCW's plans to convince fans to come to their event, even if they bought tickets to all of AEW's December shows. While Lauderdale did say that AEW is a billionaire company with endless resources and they run multiple television shows every week, so they could run an event there anytime they wanted. He didn't go much farther than that. Effie, who has no role with GCW other than being one of the biggest names on the roster, went into his theories about why AEW booked Hammerstein this month. All right, and then this apparently is the beginning of what Effie had said. He says, quote, "We are moving forward to the big Hammerstein show, and let me be honest, all right? We announced the show. It's big. We're returning almost 3 years later to the date. Big time. There's no way it's not going to make me sound like somebody could clip this and be like, he's being a jealous bitch. Not only like 2 weeks later, AEW announces they're going to do the same venue 3 nights. For them, it would be considered a smaller venue. Ring of Honor historically has used this venue. WWE has historically used this venue. ECW has historically used this venue. There's a lot of wrestling history in this venue. All right, we get it. the current Ring of Honor is not what Ring of Honor was before. It's mostly just their AEW Dark product. I understand they want to do it. It's very exciting for people to do it. I don't understand why there's no exclusivity to wrestling. I guess we didn't negotiate it. But I also, it's very confusing that, like, within the same month, y'all got to run the same venue as us. When for us, as an independent, this is a larger thing. For you, this is a way to cover up the fact a Ring of Honor pay per view right now cannot sell out the tickets you think it could. Oof. And even asking Daniel Bryan to come back for the last big one you did in Texas, that still wasn't that sold on tickets. Okay. Daniel Bryan, wow. um he continues, and this is nothing to the talent. I think the talent, you should take anything you can get, but also y'all have no buzz, no draw, and we've been riding the lightning on having to actually run a profitable company for the past few years to continue existing. We do not have as much backup. Let me put it this way. My company, I don't run a company. Our company, GCW, can't run on a $40 million deficit and continue to run shows. But some of us have the privilege of being able to run at a $40 million deficit. Yikes. All right. And then the portion of Effie's quote, that last part is what I'm saying. Yikes. Everything else is like, all right, whatever. But like the 40 million though. The portion of Effie's quote, most believe led to AEW's decision focus on AEW owner Tony Khan and his billionaire father, auto parts magnate and NFL and Premier League club owner Shad Khan. All right, here we go. Quote, Brett, being Brett Lauderdale, does not own a football team. Brett doesn't have a dad who pays him to stay away. I don't want this to be a personal thing. I don't. But hey, guys, you're not the only game in town. It's fine. I can't stop you from running venues, but in my line of work, when TNA Impact wanted to run center stage, GCW, a month before and a month after, we were told we could not have those dates that we had secured before because it was competing with something they were doing. And now it just seems the game and the respect never goes both ways. And it's fine. We're not mad. Our people will be there. Our show will be great. We will show it out. But I don't know if you meant like sell it out, but show it out. I guess whatever. But it isn't fun to see. But it isn't fun to see that like we're so out of ideas right now that the timing is that conspicuous to you showing up and doing that immediately after we announce what we're doing that. Sometimes it's just my brain just can't read how other people talk sometimes. I'm just like, I can't. It just messes with me. I'm kind of pausing right there really quick, and this ad needs to stop. It's kind of just pausing really quick right here. Like, I mean, yeah, like I get it. I get it. That's probably not the best thing to say, right? Um, but to me, let me finish this really quick, and because it's kind of like a more overview, my opinion. But Lauderdale discussed the situation this morning, November 27th, on the Game Changer Weekly podcast. He said he hasn't heard from AEW about the decision to pull Starks and has, in fact, never spoken to Tony Khan. While talking about having to change plans from their already announced Starks versus Matt Cardona match on December 14th in Los Angeles, he said, quote, I've always considered GCW and AEW to be on the same team. So I don't know if this is meant to punish Ricky Starks. Is it meant to punish GCW? Is it somewhere in between? I just don't know because, again, I just don't have that line of communication. It certainly doesn't feel great. I would love to know if there is something that we should have done or something we should be doing or whatever. But we got to the point where this stuff was agreed upon and announced, and fans were looking forward to this. So whenever that happens, to promote something and then have to pull it back, it's not ideal. End quote. And I think that was a very nice way and polite way to kind of summarize his thoughts, regarding the Effie quote, which allegedly landed him in his position. Lauderdale said, quote, I don't get to regularly tune into Effie's podcast, so I wasn't really aware of anything that would be considered too controversial that he would have said. I've only heard snippets now since I've read that, and what Effie says is Effie's opinion, and Effie's an independent wrestler. He's an independent contractor. He says this stuff on his own personal podcast, which is not endorsed or promoted or amplified or platformed by GCW. He's his own guy. And again, that's very fair. That is very fair. These people are not employees. You are not an employee of GCW or not an employee of AEW unless you have that contract, right? You have that title. You have like a behind the scenes type gig. If you're a wrestler, you're an independent contractor, which again, I don't if this is the sole reason that Tony Khan pulled Ricky Starks, like it's just kind of that part. It's like it's just kind of I don't want to say I'm not gonna say petty, but it's just like really, bro. It feels like you were just looking for an excuse and just looking for a reason to pull him from something. So that's what kind of irks me a bit. He added a line that could be interpreted as contrasting how GCW handles independent contractors to how AEW, WWE, and others do. Quote, I don't review what he does. I have no control over Effie. He is absolutely independent, 100%. Okay. While the Effie explanation seems to be enough for many, it's certainly driving discussion on this Thanksgiving Eve. Stark's involvement is curious. As Lauderdale mentions on Game Changer Weekly, multiple AEW talents worked the GCW produced Bloodsport 11 show last Sunday, which happened almost a week after Effie's pod was released. Neither AEW nor Starks has publicly commented on his being pulled from GCW. Starks has not appeared for AEW since March and remains under contract to Tony's company. My babe's having a dream. Hey, sweetie, it's okay. Just having a little nightmare there. But yeah, so let's see what you gotta say, Sean. Yeah, I gotta drink my coffee, bro. I wish I had a second cup right here because I'm almost out. Yeah, right. All these Sean's talking about wrestling. In ROH, yeah, bro. ROH is just it's just annoying at this point. Like, give it a rest. And just Chris Jericho being the champion and on AEW TV is just just kind of cringe. But yeah, so that is kind of like the long story short of the Ricky Starks of it all. I don't think though that because the article here made a very good point. The podcast was released, and then a week later, AEW talents were appearing on Bloodsport 11 or 12. So I don't know if it was just a matter of the podcast was obviously released, but with Ricky Starks' interview coming out there and his appearance then at GCW and all that kind of getting kind of like stirring the pot and getting like kicking up the dust and stuff. If that's what then amplified Effie's comments and people were like, oh, like and just kind of like talking about that and then everything just kind of merged. But like I said just a second ago, I think it was really just a reason and an excuse for Tony Khan to have to pull Ricky Starks from the show. But to be fair, if he really was looking for an excuse, he first of all could not be allowing Ricky Starks to do any shows at all. So to be fair, you have to give credit where credit is due because it's not like Tony is completely pulling him from all of his bookings. Now, if things change and Ricky Starks isn't able to do any indie shows, then we'll definitely talk about that. But as of right now, it's not like he is completely preventing him from working, right? However, it is very it is interesting because it's not like Effie was going out there and completely shitting on Tony Khan and Shad and everything. Right now, again, it's not a good look, and Tony Khan can do whatever he wants. If Tony Khan doesn't like the way GCW sent out a tweet or whatever, or the production or whatever, Tony Khan can be like, yeah, like my guys aren't going to be over there. Like I'm pulling them from the show. Is it a dick move? Absolutely. Now you don't want to do business like that because wrestling you don't want to burn bridges, right? You in wrestling, those bridges are very much needed. So the fact that he did pull talent after they were already announced does suck, and it isn't a good look, and it does leave GCW kind of with the short end of the stick, especially because they had just started promoting the Cardona and Starks match, and that was gonna be a good show, and a good match rather, and I was kind of looking forward to it. And just to be able to see Ricky like on a kind of big stage and just doing what he does best, and it does suck, and I'm very bummed about that. However, I do believe he's still announced for like a House of Glory wrestling show as well, so check that out. But it just sucks. Like Rick is one of those guys, and he even said like he's in the prime of his career. I think he hasn't even hit his prime, to be honest. But the fact that he's just kind of being set aside and just being wasted is the real travesty of all this, in my opinion. All this is it's just kind of extra bullshit, that doesn't even really matter in the grand scheme of things. The brass tacks of it all is like, okay, why isn't Ricky Starks on AEW TV? Like, okay, fine, like he got pulled from GCW, whatever. Why isn't he on AEW? Why isn't he on TV? Why isn't he at least on Collision or Rampage? Like, why isn't he doing something with AEW? Like, Tony Khan, you sit there and say, like, oh, he's great. Yeah, he's a great talent. I'm happy he's in AEW. I'd love to get him back on. Then do it, bro. Then do it. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, and again, it's almost like one of those things where you kind of feel like something's like just not being said or you're missing something because it doesn't make sense. Like if Ricky Starks is good, he wants to be on TV, he wants to wrestle, he wants to do this, that, and the third. You have your owner who has all the platform and everything, be like, yeah, he's great, I'd love to have him back. Why isn't he back? That's what doesn't make sense to me. That's why I feel like we're missing something, and someone's just not being truthful. And I don't think that it's Ricky. I really think that I really think that it is just like a little bit of the pettiness in this regard. I don't think it has anything to do with GCW. Rather, I feel like that was just again just a scapegoat, Jack Perry, just an excuse to get him pulled from something, and especially with GCW, who I'm not going to say they're any competition to AEW, but GCW is a strong brand. Like if you're into that style of wrestling, they are very popular, like they do a lot of shows, they travel a lot, they go across the country, they've gone to the UK before, so it's like they aren't nothing to just laugh at or to not take seriously. Again, they're no competition for AEW in that regard for like market share or anything like that, but you can start to create a divide. You got to be careful if you're a Tony Khan in AEW. You could really start to create a divide, and you don't want to then start positioning your company as a WWE light who is now becoming the WWE of the past, where they are not as friendly, and you just get that kind of that perception out there. You want to avoid that is what I fear long term for AEW in that situation. But again, to be fair and to give credit where credit is due, this wouldn't even be a thing if Tony Khan doesn't allow his independent contractors to go out there and work other dates as well. So you still have to give him credit for that. Um, something in me, I feel like we're going to be seeing less and less of AEW talent being allowed to do indie shows and stuff like this, especially the bigger you are. So I think this could be maybe like seeds being planted for a bigger change. So we'll see. I hope not, though. I hope not, but we'll see. Um, Yeah, Sean, I agree. I think it's mainly Tony Khan on this one. I really do, which is sad. But AEW Full Gear and Dynamite. Let us just dive into it real quick here. I'm gonna pull up the and oh my gosh. All right, so I'm not going to do a full breakdown of Full Gear because at this point we all know what happened. I will say, because I bitched and complained about Big Boom and the Costco guys and all that. I will give credit where credit is due again. They were not terrible. Ugh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Well, I don't even know. It's AJ, right? Big Boom AJ. Props to that guy. Apparently, it almost hurts me and pains me to say it. Apparently, he broke his foot. Now, at some point, there was reports that he broke it earlier in the day. But he since have released a video stating that he had broke it during the match, and he believes that it was when he was. I think he was doing like, was it a close jumping off the top rope? I think it was something, maybe a superplex or not. I don't know, something off the top rope. But it happened earlier on in the match. Forget exactly where he said it was, or where he thinks it was. But the dude finished the match, so I will give him all the respect and the props for that. He was a wrestler back in the day. I think they said about 20 years ago he used to be a wrestler, but he's not an active wrestler right now. He does not need to be in the ring, especially when he's hurt at that point and continuing the match. So props to him for doing that. The reaction that him and his son, what's the kid's name? Big Justice? That's the kid, right? Big Justice, I think. um the reaction they got, and again, yes, they were in their home state, I guess, so that plays a lot into it. But the reaction they got, I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like I was blown away by that. They were one of the most overacts the entire night, and I don't know what that says about AEW as a whole or the product as a whole, but like, damn, I was just like, are you guys kidding me? Like there were signs, like this one person had a sign, had a cookie on like state tape to it. I don't know. Because their thing is the Costco guys, if you haven't heard of them, which I had no fucking idea who, like the Costco guy, like what? Um, they apparently, and I haven't seen, I saw like almost one video, I think, when I was trying to see who these people were. Apparently, they go through and they review Costco like foods and goods and stuff, and like, yeah. If you don't know, if you're not in America, I don't know if they're across. I don't know where they're at. Costco is, but they're just like almost like a grocery wholesaler. Like you buy shit in bulk, and they have like food in there that you can buy and eat. And I guess these people go in there and they review their products. And I guess one of the big products that they like is I don't even want to say it, chocolate chip cookies, but they call it like the big. I don't even want to say it. It's they review like cookies. Apparently, the cookie is the most popular one. I don't know, but they had these people in there with signs with the cookies like on the posters and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, here we are. But no, to be fair, like I'm not gonna say, and I'm not gonna take back me being so angry and why I was so irrationally angry when they were announced and once I realized who these people were, um, because it's still just like I don't want to say a mockery because it's not a mockery. And again, he did a very good job in the match, and shout out to QT as well because QT really added a lot and really carried a lot of the match and really dude is a pro at what he can do, right? So all the props to QT, but it's just still one of those things, you know, like it almost it hurts me, man. But I get the marketing behind it, I get the promotion behind it, I get the wanting to just branch out and get that social media fan base, you know, and to try to reel in as many new viewers as you can. I totally get that. WWE does that shit all the time, you know, and they had it all the time and done it in more cringe ways. So I completely understand that. It's just it's not for me, brother. You know what I mean? It's not for me. I guess who they are, you know what I mean? But I have to give credit where credit is due. The guy really did a great job. And what's the kid's name? Oh my god, the other kid. I don't think they're one of his kids. The fuck is his name? The Rizzler, the fucking Rizzler kid, the with the chin, the Rizzler kid. That kid, like, how old is he? Like 7, 8 years old. The fact that he knew when he was on camera and when to hit his pose and his moments, like, props to you, my guy. Like, you have better TV awareness and better just overall awareness of when to hit your moments and when to hit your cues and like just props to him. Like every time the camera, because he was the special guest, ring or not ring announcer. Jesus, can you imagine ring announcer? The bell person. I think they said timekeeper, but he was like he rang the bell. So he was sitting there right next to the commentary table. Every time the camera flashed over to him, that dude was just rubbing his little chin, and he was always spot on. So it's it's just fucking crazy. So shout out to the little Rizzler kid. Um, God, like it's just funny, like the following that people get and just the money that this kid is probably making, and it's just bonkers. It's just bonkers. But I had to at least I'm not gonna say like eat crow or anything like that because I still wouldn't have advocated for it, you know what I mean? But I get it. I get the marketing. And to be fair, like I didn't even know, but apparently like Big Boom, AJ went on to like all these different like TV shows and stuff and was like really promoting it. So props to them. And again, he took it seriously, you know, as serious as this you can take that situation. He really put in work. He could have easily have told QT like right after he felt like pain in his foot and like something was wrong, like, hey man, like we gotta go home, like we gotta wrap this up. And he didn't. He carried on through the match. So props to him. Now, my biggest fears have come true. He says that this is not the end for him in AEW and that they will be back. He says his recovery time is about 6 to 8 weeks. So Big Boom will be back. So I I knew this was going to happen, especially because it was most likely going to be a hit because apparently it was like one of their highest, if not their highest viewed video clip on YouTube from all from Full Gear. I'm gonna say All Gear, but yeah, and again, I don't know what that means. I don't know how you feel about that. If you're AEW, again, you're thankful that you're getting the traffic to your channel, but the big thing is going to be who maintains and who stays. And I had actually made a point, while I'm not advocating for this at all, but it almost didn't make sense. And I'm sure if he is going to be back, and he sounds like he is, if they're going to do another match in the future and he gets implemented somehow, I could very easily see him doing something with Jericho for real, for real. As much as I want to like shoot myself in the foot for saying that, I could definitely see when he comes back, see him coming back to do something, and then Jericho coming out to interrupt him or something, or him being a special guest on like the Learning Tree segment or something like that, and Jericho just kind of hamming it up and then them going from there. I'm thankful because I think that, what is this? Yeah. So thankfully, that sounds terrible. His foot will not be healed in time for World's End. So I will not be seeing the Boom here in Orlando at World's End. So thank you for that. I wish him all the best though. I do wish him, you don't want anyone to be hurt, right? And I appreciate him doing the marketing and really putting AEW out there and really using his platform to boost the AEW. So to kind of wrap up the Jericho part, I could see that happening on a pay-per-view, because what I was gonna say is, and again, not that I'm advocating for this, but if the dude is gonna be coming back, and now that he's already kind of got like one match and kind of like pulled the band-aid type thing from all of this, just I'm trying not to cuss as much, but all this fuckery, with the Big Boom and the Doom and bringing the Doom and just all this whatever. Um, it is kind of like you're doing all this for a pre-match or a pre-show match, and it's almost like if his fan base is this diehard and they love him this much, why? I almost even don't want to say it. Like, why wouldn't you put him on the main card? Even if it's like the second match, like second or third match, um, so you can hopefully get more pay-per-view buys out of it. Now, again, like I don't really see. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe the fan base is that diehard for him that they would spend, was it like 50-60 bucks or something for the show? Maybe they would just to see his match. I don't know, but if anything, maybe they would tune in weekly. Oh, but yeah. So as much as I thought it was cringe going into it, he actually did a very good job. The kid, Big Justice, hit a pretty good spear too. So I had to give props where props are due. And again, shout out to QT, because QT really was the glue and just really held all that together. But yeah, what's up? Oh, what's up? Was it Gregor John? What's up? What's up? Let me back up a little bit. Ron Ginsberg. What's up? Oh, what's up, Ron? Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. I appreciate you. Yeah, we're gonna talk about MJF here in a second too. Um, yeah, Ron, you're saying if it's on the pre-show, it would be harmless, but I do agree with your perspective. Thank you, man. And yeah, like that's what I was saying. The pre-show, again, like I said in my preview show leading up to it, I was trying not to be as mad as it made me be, because again, it was on the pre-show and very easy to miss. And again, if I were to spend $50 on that show, part of my $50 wasn't contributing to the Costco guys. But it would just make sense. Like if you're gonna be doing all this marketing and all this to generate buzz for them, like it would almost make sense that they would have put him on the actual main card rather, but I'm very happy they didn't. But I'm not gonna be surprised if he's, even if it's like a, what is it, Revolution would be the next one after after World's End. So depending on where he's at recovery time wise, I'm not gonna be surprised if he doesn't end up on the main card for real. Yeah, Sean, do stuff with the people you have. LJ Avua, I don't know if that's how you say it. You say, I think it says a lot in a bad way that the Costco people are or will soon be the top viewed AEW video this year. Yeah, it's wild. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I get why they want to use people for publicity and brand awareness and to get the name out there, but it's like it's almost kind of cringe too. It's like, damn, like, and again, like, to be fair, like, yeah, a celebrity is gonna get more views and more attention than your average wrestler. Like, that's just common sense, you know. That's just it is what it is, you know. But at the same token, too, like, you don't want it to be just blowing away all of your other talent. You know, you want like your Swerve, your MJF, your John Moxley, somebody to at least have similar type numbers, or at least not too far off. Um, but yeah, it's just like it's a weird problem and a weird like boat that wrestling finds themselves in sometimes. It's one of those things where it's like it's almost like a necessary evil type thing, but it's all about the presentation and all about how the follow up is. Because again, to be fair too, it's not like QT is this guy that we're seeing on TV every week and how he's being taken seriously. He's going for all the one of the 15 titles and all this shit. Like, no, he's just, when was the last time we even saw QT? So he's perfect for that role. But again, I'm still not a fan of the Costco guys. They're still not going to get a follow from me. But I do have to give props and respect where all that is due. But yeah, I'm gonna pull up. So with Full Gear 2, and again, just kind of take an overview look on it, because I do gotta wrap up here within the next about few-ish minutes or so. Full Gear, it was again one of those shows where I'm not gonna get into on the same soapbox that I'm on every freaking week, but it's the story, man. You know, it's the same boat that we're just paddling along in, not making any progress. We're just treading water at this point. The show though, the pay per view itself, it was okay, but the energy just wasn't there. Like, for instance, the Takeshita and Ricochet match, like, that was just very awkward for me. It was just like it's just not hitting. It's something is off, and it's almost like I don't know why I was randomly thinking about it the other day when I was driving, but it's almost like I had to be listening to something. But it's almost like AEW needs to really just. I wish they could take a step back and maybe take like a month or two off. And obviously, I know that's not gonna happen. But maybe they could realistically and not take a month off, but in December and like the next few weeks with the heavy holidays, like just take even 2 weeks and just have like I don't want to say phone it in shows because I don't I don't know what day Christmas is on specifically. Let me see. December. Oh shit! No way. Okay, that actually works out perfectly then. So Christmas is on a Wednesday. So Christmas Eve is Tuesday, and then obviously Christmas is the 25th. So I doubt that they're going to be doing any live shows for that week. So you could take not even 2 weeks. You could take like almost like the 10-day time frame right there and use that as a reset. Obviously give your talent, like your writing team, whoever they are, you can give them the time off, but then maybe that week or depending on they know like whatever in their schedule in that time frame, they would have the most ample amount of time to almost like open the book and be like, all right, what are we doing with these guys and these gals, like the 6 to 8 main people that you want to focus on, maybe even 10. Like, what are we doing with Moxley? What is the true end game for this? Who is going to be the one that dethrones Moxley? I still say right now it's going to be Hangman Page. But who is going to be the one that really dethrones Moxley and saves AEW, whatever the fuck that means? And when are we going to do it? Is it going to be at All In, which I think would make the most sense, especially if you're going to do a Hangman Page, do it at All In since it's going to be in Texas, just plays and marks off all the stereotypes, right? And it gives you ample time to really build up to it. But you need to already have that in mind and be like, hey, Hangman is going to dethrone Moxley. Hangman is going to be AEW saving grace. We're going to do it at AEW All In, the show. What are we going to be doing from then and backtracking? Are we going to, who are we going to be building up to get to that point, right? Because I was that person who it was getting to the point like, why is Moxley the Mechanics if Adam was here? But the Death Riders, why are they beating up the Dark Order and the production staff, and not even the production staff, but like why are they beating up these like Dark Order and security guards rather? and all these people that we don't really care about and we don't see it. No offense, like character wise, like what difference does it make? Then we got Chuck Taylor, who's dressed up as a production guy. Like, we didn't even fucking know he was in production. Like, when was the last time that we even saw Chuck Taylor? First of all, had no idea that he was no longer wrestling. He had I guess, a career-ending injury to his ankle or something. And he's just back there, like, with his headgear on, just like with like, what do you like? What? So it's just little things like that that I was like, okay, like, what are we doing? Like, why are we focusing on the big dogs here? And again, not saying you should just go straight for the head of the snake, because sometimes I'm not gonna. I was gonna say, that'd be never mind. I was gonna describe how you get to that, but that'd be very graphic and disgusting. But you work your way up sometimes, and sometimes the method is you don't go straight for the big dog. You don't go straight for the head. You have to weaken them down, right? And how do you do that? You go for his team, and you take away all of the what analogy, whatever. You take away his foundation, right? If you don't have a foundation, you can't build your walls and you don't have a house, right? So if you take away all of the support system, then you're going to have a situation where the head of the table, right? No crossover there, but the big dog, Moxley, wow, that was too, I did not mean that at all. um but you keep saying it, but Moxley, he's not going to be as strong because he doesn't have his support system. So when you take out all the little lower guys, and then your middlemen, and then your Claudios, your Pax, and your Marina Shafir, then you get to Mox. It's like, all right, let's go. Like, now it's sure to get off the pot. You know what I mean? But and that's how Moxley was doing it. He and his team, he was taking out the lower guys to end up getting to the big guns. And while it lasted way too long, I get that. They should have done that week 1. You do that week 1, maybe even leading into week 2 to continue it. Yeah, week 2, but not continuous for like over a month. You do that and then you build your way up. So I am happy that on Dynamite they're finally messing with people a little bit higher on the card. They finally attacked, not finally, but they attacked Jay White, which is again, he has been worn down. If you look at his feud with MJF, which we'll talk about here in a second, MJF, before we wrap up, but he at least picked up a couple wins against Hangman Page, and now he's 5-0 against Hangman or something like that. I love that story, and I like that could eventually lead into it as well. So yeah, I like they're finally implementing bigger names into this, into the beatdown. I still don't know, like, what the power and what we're fighting to control AEW is about. Like, I don't understand what control Moxley really has. It's not like the dude is hijacking the show every week. He did nothing for the seizing of TBS. So I really don't know what we're doing in that regard. It makes no sense to me. I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, I love AEW and I'm fighting for AEW, and AEW like took me off the streets and all this shit. Like, okay, dude, like, that's what jobs do. Like, you apply for a job, you get hired, and you get a paycheck, and you work to pay your bills to not be living on the street. So it's like, I get it. Like, we all get it. Like, you're thankful. I'm thankful for AEW. Shit, and I don't even work there. Like, we're all thankful for AEW. Cool. I'm thankful for WWE. I'm thankful for TNA. Thankful for GCW. I'm thankful for all wrestling. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like, what's the point? Like, we get it. And something that just popped in my head, like, I'm sorry, but it was kind of cringe to me when Garcia on Full Gear walked out with the AEW flag. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Like, it was just kind of cringe to me. Like, it's just, I don't know. I wish there was more substance to it. I wish there was more reasoning and more idea of, like, okay, like, Moxley, when he says he's taking over AEW, like, this is what he means, and the people defending AEW, this is what they're doing, and it's just, it makes no sense to me. But yeah, so MJF, really quick though, that shit is just dumb. Like, we just need to stop. Like, I don't understand the whole, and it really, I'm almost at the point with Adam Cole, and I don't even want to say it, where I'm at with Jericho, where, like, I don't even want to see him on TV right now until he's doing something different. Because it's just, he goes out when he first comes back saying he doesn't want anyone's help. He needs, like, thank you to the Undisputed Kingdom, but he's going to do it on his own. Okay, cool. The next week they come out. They're like, no, Adam, you do need us. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I do need you guys. Thank you. Happy. We're hugging it out. Now he was arguing with Roderick Strong about who's going to face MJF between him and Roderick Strong. Why Strong really wanted to face MJF that badly, don't really know. Unless I'm missing something. But like, yeah, he was involved with the whole MJF Devil storyline to begin with thing, but it's not like he was the main player in it. So I don't know why he's so gun ho about getting retribution against MJF. And now Kyle O'Reilly is just coming out here randomly and he's saying, no, Adam, don't do this. Like, you need to just leave it alone. Like MJF is dangerous type thing. Like, he's like just fight your own battles. And Adam Cole's like, okay, cool. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I wanted to fight MJF, but I didn't win the stupid fucking like stipulations to get there that changed halfway through. So and then Kyle's like, no, like, you're right, dude. Like, no, like, if anyone's gonna fight MJF, it's gonna be me. And it's like, well, you just told Adam to fight his own battles. So like, why are you not fighting? Why do you want to fight MJF? And it's like, oh, because he wants to fight for Roderick Strong. It's like, okay, so Kyle O'Reilly is fighting for Roderick Strong's honor, who Strong was fighting for Adam Cole's honor. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why? Like, it's just so dumb. And it's just leading up to someone turning on someone, which is going to be just convoluted. It's very cringe. And then Kyle just leaves the ring. He turns around, leaves the ring, and Adam, it's just like a bad soap opera. He's just standing there in the ring, just kind of like, oh, Kyle, like, and he's talking to Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, like, oh, there he goes, like, there he's walking away, like, oh, like, he's talking about, like, no, like, it's so dumb, and it frustrates me because Adam Cole is so much better than this, and I just expected so much more from him coming in AEW. Yes, shit happens when you get hurt, and you don't expect that, and you don't plan for that, obviously, and that's not even the problem. The problem is had an opportunity to drop the storyline and to really right a wrong, which was the double storyline, and to kind of agree to just like not bring it back up, and they didn't. And now we're just digging further and further into this hole where it's just you're losing any slimmer and any hope of light at the end of it, and it's just like just more and more shit, and just deeper and deeper that you're getting into it, and it's hurting Adam Cole. Thankfully, he didn't say who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, but like, it's almost like a parody of himself, and I hate to say that. I don't mean that as like disrespect to the guy himself, And to be fair, like, I'm almost kind of worried about him, like, personally. Like, I don't know if the stuff with like the rumors about him and Britt breaking up, I don't know if any of that's true, but I'm sure the guy is not in the best mindset, right? Like, he has had 2 injuries now since he's been in AEW that were pretty severe and took him out for a substantial amount of time. And then, like I was saying earlier, like when you're a wrestler, you run into the fear of out of sight, out of mind type thing. And like, am I still going to be loved when I come back? Are they going to care? Are they going to move on? So all those thoughts are probably running through his mind. If he is dealing with the stuff with Britt, like that's got to be very like heartbreaking, right? And very heavy on the mind, and a lot going on with that. So I just feel for him, and that's why it kind of bothers me more than it normally would, I guess, too. It's because, like, we've seen what Adam Cole can do, and especially in NXT, and what he could really be. He could have been the face of the company, like, as crazy as it sounds, like, when he came in, like, if he was handled, and again, barring all injuries, right, he could have been, if not the face of the company, up there, and a main player. And now he's just in these segments where it's like, okay, like, he comes out here to say something and about how mad he is at MJF. MJF sends us in a video. Like, why is he still not back? Why is he not back? I thought he had said, now to be fair, he had said leading up to Full Gear that we weren't going to see him. Okay, cool. So we knew that. Why is he still not back? Yeah, he's going to come back next week. Is he going to be back weekly? Is he just going to be a one Dynamite thing and he's gonna be gone for the next few weeks? Like, I'm not about that. And if you're Tony Khan, like, you shouldn't be about that either. You just dropped millions on this dude, probably, right, to keep him from going to WWE, and now he's just out there making movies again. Like, cool, okay, like, is it gonna be a good look for him if he gets to the red carpet or something like that, being an AEW talent? Yeah, sure. And hopefully he goes out there and does press interviews and hype for the movie and stuff like that. And he mentions AEW. He has like just something referencing that, right? We can hope. But MJF's his little promo that he did on Full Gear was very I forget exactly what he said, but something that he said really stood out to me. Something to the effect of him like just kind of popping in and doing and like just being there and then leaving or whatever or something. But it was just like it made me feel like okay, like this guy, he's literally just here cashing his check, and it just it feels very basic. It feels very basic heel stuff, like, oh, I'm gonna shit on the town, I'm gonna shit on the basketball team or whatever, and I'm gonna be in and out. And I don't know, between that and then seeing how he sent in another video, just another dumb video of him. What was he doing? Playing the piano? I think, yeah, he was playing the piano. And yeah, it was cute or whatever. But like, it just takes away from any sense of realism, any sense of like, how can we take Adam Cole so seriously? How can I get so upset with Adam that he's mad when we're just seeing a video or what was it, a few second video, minute video from MJF that clearly, it's not live. I don't know if they're supposed to be under the perception that it's live or what, but it's just like it's just not for me, man. And we're gonna get the match at World's End most likely, and it's gonna be a good match, I hope. And I'm gonna be excited to see it, but it's just like I just want it to be done. I don't even care who wins at this point. I don't care if Adam Cole wins, I don't care if MJF wins. I just want someone to win between the two of them, have a singles match, and just be done and move on. And let MJF go and take time off if he needs to, which again, like if you're Tony Khan, like I don't know why, like I wouldn't be paying him all that money to just be gone. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna go back to some comments here really quick. And again, shout out to everyone popping in. I appreciate you guys for this random impromptu live. I appreciate it. What's up, Jesse? What up, man? I appreciate you. Bro, hell no. But I don't know if you heard me earlier. I don't know what time you popped in at, but yeah, man, it was definitely not no AJ. Like, but I did have to give him props or where it was due. My favorite match though from Full Gear, gosh, this is gonna sound probably kind of crazy, but I really enjoyed Mercedes Moné and Statlander. It's for as much shit that I've given to Mercedes and the character, and actually, thank you for making me think of that. The fall that we got on Dynamite. So the match with Full Gear, I really enjoyed it. I thought that was probably one of the best matches in AEW, especially for the women's division. Probably top 5, if not top 3. So I really dug what they did. I think they really did a great job. They killed it. I just wish the story, again, with everything was a little bit better going into it. But the fallout from Mercedes and oh my gosh, Camille breaking up so soon on Dynamite, I'm just like, really? And again, I'm sorry, but it was kind of cringe. Like, it was not a good segment. It was just really bad acting. Like, I don't know why Camille and Mercedes are breaking up so soon already. Camille has been in the company, what, 4 months? Like, why do I care about her and breaking up from Mercedes? Like, okay, cool. Like, you're done. Like, okay, cool. Like, I guess I should feel bad, and I know I should be. I'm not even a guess. Like, I know I should be siding with her because Mercedes was a bitch to her and whatever, but like, Camille put up with it. Like, it died for me with Camille. What was it, 2 weeks ago, last week, when she got into the ring, when her arm was in the sling, because Mercedes told her to go in there and to handle business, essentially. And Camille got into the ring and then oh my God, who was it? I forget who it was. Was it Sheeta? I forget who it was. But she just let them beat her up. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, really? Like, you're literally walking into the ring wearing heels in a sling, and you dressed in your normal clothes and just like letting them beat you up. Like, no, like that's what just killed it for me. I was just like, you know what? I don't even care. Like, girl, no, she didn't look like displeased about it. Like, yeah, she wasn't excited for it, but she's like, yeah, all right, I'll just go in there and get my ass kicked. Like, are you serious right now? No, bro, no. So that's what kind of killed it for me. But that one was probably my second, but honestly, like, I loved the Fletcher and Ospreay match. Probably no surprise there. But I will say the tombstone onto these steel steps, killed it for me. I'm not gonna say killed it for me. It really bothered me. I'm like, this has got to be the finish, and it wasn't the finish. I'm just like, okay, like what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, and to be fair, like I was going back in the Ricochet and Adam Cole match from NXT, the spot where Ricochet was coming off of the ropes and Adam Cole hit him with a super kick. Ricochet did it and he kicked out of that. That wasn't the finisher. That should have been like stuff like that kills me, man. I'm just like, okay, dude, like there's no way. Like I'm buying into it, right? Like I'm playing along with you. Like even me playing along, like this dude getting super kicked in the head after jumping off the ropes. Like there's no way he should have kicked out after 3. Ospreay being tombstone pile driven onto the steel stairs from the apron to the stairs. No reason that shouldn't have been the end of the match. Fletcher should have just rolled him into the ring, got the 3 count, and went about his day. So I wasn't a fan of that spot, and I really wish someone would, an agent back there, whomever, would really tighten that up for the guys. It just takes me out. I'm not a fan of all the super kicks for the Young Bucks and all of the kickouts and stuff like that. Like it for me, like it's just not realistic to me, and I'm trying to buy in. I'm not even trying. I'm buying in. Like I said, I'm buying in. I'm in. I'm in on it. Obviously, right? But even I get to a point where it's like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Yeah, Ron, you said you're from New Jersey. That crowd was indicative of how the company has those storylines that are worth fully investing in regarding Big Boom. Yeah, it's sad. Sean, you said, as I said on Wajo, there aren't a lot of faces that are in a good spot, and that is a huge problem. Yeah, man. And that's why I'm saying they have a chance with, I don't know why, but in my head, like, I'm just stuck on Hangman Page being the guy who dethrones Moxley. And I think this is the beginning that we're seeing of Hangman, the slow burn and the slow the seeds being planted for a long-term story. And to be fair, like, I hope, but of him turning back to the good side and not even being a stereotypical babyface and being a quote-unquote good guy, but being the one that saves AEW, because that's always been Hangman's thing. Hangman has always been taking it back to, I mentioned on a previous show, taking it back to when CM Punk was there and Hangman was the champion. He said that he now has to save AEW from Punk. Now, again, that's a whole nother clusterfuck, but that has always been Hangman's mission. AEW, to save AEW, to be the face of AEW, to be the world champion. So to me, it just makes the most sense. And again, setting wise, if they do it an all in, just makes sense. So I think that's where I'm at with that. But at least with babyface, like you got to do something. You have to invest in someone. So LJ, oh boy, you say I know a couple low-level AEW wrestlers. They are continuously trying to give away free tickets on their personal accounts. No limit, take as many as you can. Usually they offer them the day before. Oh, very, very stark contrast from WWE right now, who has to or they've stopped giving out tickets for their talent because the business is so popping. They want to sell those tickets. And that's, I mean, but to be fair, like, that's cool that AEW gives out tickets, for their talent to give to their, their family and stuff. But yeah, and again, like, I'm not one to be here shit on ticket sales or anything like that, and like making fun of them or laughing or anything like that. Like, it's sad for me. It truly is sad. Like, I'm concerned for them, so I want them to do better. Yeah, bro, you said, why does the Dark Order even exist? No fucking idea at this point. I guess it's just as a homage to Brody. I'm gonna say Brody King, to Brody Lee, but no, like it's just, come on. I don't know, bro. It's just, ugh. Yeah, and you say Jay White is one of many examples of guys who were dope in New Japan but fall weirdly flat in AEW. Absolutely. And I was one when Jay White was in the free agency. I was hoping he was going to go to WWE just for the fact, for storyline, not to be like, oh, like, to shit on AEW, but for storyline and character development. Him and Kenny Omega both. I thoroughly want them in WWE just to see what we can fully get out of them. Omega, I'm not gonna hold my breath on, but Jay White, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful once his contract is up, he's gonna go over there. Wrapping up. Yeah, I wish MJF was focusing more on too. What's up, Aiden? You say you just find this on your algorithm. I appreciate that, man. It was a random show. Welcome, welcome. I hope you stick around. Feel free to like. I guess I should say this more. Feel free to like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'm not really the best promoter or like the best content creator or whatever label you want to put out there. I'm just here just shooting the shit. I just literally pop on here at random times sometimes and just talk wrestling, you know. I'm not like you know, I don't have like an end game. Like, of course, like it for me, like I really enjoy like people popping in and popping out and like subscribing just because I like to hear and see where people are from and to really just talk to different people, man. Like I've met so many dope people and like really good friends from wrestling, and that's what I really get the most enjoyment out of. So yeah, man, thanks for popping and clicking and seeing it in your algorithm and clicking on it and jumping in and commenting. I appreciate that. Um yeah, Sean, you're right though. She did do way too many meteors. It was like I felt like I was playing a wrestling game. Like what are we doing? But Aiden, you said Mercedes and Chris was awesome. Didn't care about really anything else on the show. This is from a guy who spent his last penny to fly out and go see Hangman win the world title the first time. Wow, dude. Yeah, so you've been around for a minute. Um, yeah, man. Are you? How do you feel about you said that just paid your last spent your last penny to see Hangman specifically win the title. How do you feel about Hangman's character right now? Like in his direction right now? Like, do you think he could be the guy to save AEW and to dethrone Moxley, or what are you thinking about Hangman right now? But yeah, Mercedes and Chris was awesome, dude. It was such a good show or a good match rather. Um, Ron, you said Jericho and Ishii was the worst thing AEW has done in their history. God, that was awful. Yeah, dude. Thank God, though, it was not on the pay-per-view itself because I really would have just been. I'm surprised, honestly. I'm surprised it wasn't on the pay-per-view. At least it was on Dynamite. But yeah, dude, we gotta get this shit off Dynamite. And Jericho hasn't even shown up on Ring of Honor since he's been the champion. So like, what are we even doing? Like, it's just a joke. Ron, you said how long have I been streaming? So streaming, I guess, like doing live just within this past year, and nothing really as bad as it sounds, nothing really too consistent. I need to get better at that, and just really like pick a day at a time where I'm gonna be consistent with it here. But I've been doing podcasts on and off for the past couple of years. Before I was like really weird about going on camera, and then I did it with a friend for the first time, and it was just kind of fun. So just kind of experimenting, just kind of going from there. But yeah, man, not too long. I'm maybe a little bit more consistently, I would say, within the past year. But I've definitely had the podcast, like audio versions of it, for a couple years. Actually, probably like 3 or 4 years. But I stopped for probably like 8 months or so. Um, within the past 2 years, and yeah, but this year I would say I've been a little bit more consistent with it, especially on YouTube. Like for the longest time, like I didn't even do anything on YouTube. I would just randomly post some of the audio shows that we're doing to YouTube, just to at least have like a channel for my show. But yeah, I would say probably within the past year I've been streaming, but again, nothing too consistent, nothing too like I don't know. I'm not one of those people that's out there like really trying to get monetized or anything like that. Obviously, I just do it for fun, man. I just get on here, shoot the shit, and I go there. Let's see. It's extra sad because almost no one claims the free tickets that they try to give away. The next step is to pay. God, yeah, let's not do that. Crispy, you say you have very expressive eyebrows. Thank you, man. I don't know. I hope that's a good thing. I don't know. I do. I do have very expressive eyebrows. And that's why like I can't play poker or nothing like that because my face gives it away. Oh, what's up? Got another new pop in here. Deron Kingade. What up? What up? What up? First here on your stream on YouTube. Big, huge fan of pro wrestling, WCW, WWF, ECW, all the good stuff. Yeah, man. Cool. Lucha Underground. Yeah, welcome. You watched it all, man. Welcome, welcome. I hope you stick around. Hope you like, subscribe, and come back. All that good shit. And you added Lucha Underground and I just subscribe. Oh, sweet. Just subscribe to your channel. Can't wait to see more. Awesome, bro. Appreciate that. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I appreciate that. And Crispy, yeah, it's a connection error. We have really bad storms here today. My mic is pretty good. But my connection is not great right now. Because that's why I've been kind of looking off to the side a little bit out the window here. It's been raining a lot, and between last night and this morning, it's just not been great. So yeah, it's a little bit of a connection error for me. Um, yeah, Sean, yeah. My mic normally is pretty surprisingly, my mic is probably the best thing that I have here. um, but yeah, it's just the connection. That's why if you're watching the video, or if you're just listening in audio, it might be a little bit choppy. But if you're watching the audio, or I'm watching the audio, if you're watching the visual here on YouTube, it's been a little splicey as well. I've noticed here on my second screen that I have pulled up. So yeah, I apologize for that, man. But yeah, hopefully this it'll be better in the future. Um, oh, Ron. Oh, okay. Time to ask the hard hitting questions. Your thoughts on JD from NY? All right. So I will be completely honest on this one. Completely honest. I like JD from NY. I like him. I like the fact that he pulls no punches. He is very passionate. I respect the fact, and I just learned of him within this past year or so, I believe. Um, when I was within the past year when I was trying to kind of venture more into YouTube and just kind of see what other people do. My dog. Hold on one second. Sorry, my dog is speaking of the window, she is on watch duty and she saw a neighbor's dog. But yes, JD from NY. So I I am a fan, I would say. Um do I agree with everything that he says? No. Do y'all probably agree with everything I've even sat here and said today? No, probably not. But I respect, and like I was saying before, I respect the fact that he is as passionate as he is. The money and the time and the investment that he has put into his channel, the production is amazing. No one can say anything to him about the production, the layouts that he has, the crispness. Speaking of connection and shit like that, like he has invested a lot into his channel. So I respect that. I respect the fact that he has now made it his full-time gig and that he is able to just report on wrestling and to do that for his livelihood. So I give him a ton of respect for that. And to be fair, I really dig some of his takes. Um, I like how passionate he is. I like the fact that he, again, like I said earlier, pulls no punches, and he's not afraid to say shit that a lot of us are thinking, and just some of the creators don't want to say. And he speaks his mind. Now, are there some times where I feel like he amplifies things and maybe accentuates things a little bit too much, and it's just maybe um just more upset that maybe it's warranted? Yeah, about the Costco guys last week, that shit pissed me off, and I was more angry and bothered and upset by the vast majority of other like podcasters or whatever. So I get it. He has, I guess, since I've learned of him, he has, I guess, in the past said some things about like women's wrestlers or their appearance or something like that. I have not watched any of that, and to be completely honest, again, like I have not done research on him. Maybe I should. I don't really care that much. Like if he was still actively going out there and like shitting on female wrestlers and just shitting on people just being mean, then yeah, like whatever. Like I'm not gonna invest my time in him. But I think a lot of the stuff that he says is true. And I think a lot of the stuff that he says, especially about AEW and calling out Tony Khan and stuff like that, I feel like is warranted. Now, I think that he says stuff that I wouldn't say. And again, like sometimes I'm thinking it, right? Like sometimes I'm like, man, this shit sucks. But I'm not going to just go out there and just be like, man, this shit sucks. Because I tried to be a little bit more understanding, but sometimes like I do just want to be like, man, this shit is just fucking terrible, you know? And he just goes out there and says it, which I respect. But again, like I think like he's called people stupid times and stuff. Like I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yo, you're stupid for thinking that way because we all have our own opinions, but he has his own way of doing shit and his own delivery, and I respect that. And I really dig the fact that he has a different perspective and he pulls no punches. So I guess you would say I'm a fan. But do I agree with his approach on some things and his words a lot of the times, or just the fact, or just some stuff that he says? No, of course not. But as a whole, I dig him. I respect it. So yeah, it is what it is for me. And like, and again, the fact that he has been doing it for so long, it's just some of the shit he says is just, I'm just like, yeah, dude, fucking thank you. Like, and the platform that he has, and just really calling specifically AEW out on their stuff, I dig, and I respect it. And again, does he go a little hard sometimes? Yeah, but it is what it is, you know. And to me, if you're gonna have a product and you're gonna be in the public eye, you have to be ready to take some shit for it too. So that's just kind of where I stand. Um, Now again, if I go back and I see some shit like, and I think it was something like him and Alexa Bliss got into it a few years ago or something. I don't know. I don't know the exact content of it. Just from what I know of him now and what I've seen of him now, like I rock with him. So yeah, shout out to JD from New York, right? Um, Oh, okay. I'm watching your stream in a JD hoodie. Oh shit. Okay. We have hung out multiple times over the last 6 years. He gets a bad rep, but is a good hearted dude. Very yeah. Okay, so cool. Yeah. So shout out to him. Yeah. If you talk to him, tell him I said hey. um, he would look. I would be one of those channels, bro. He would look at it and laugh at. He would be like, "The fuck is this person doing?" You know what I mean? But yeah, no. That's why he has like a, if nothing else, he'll always have like a level of respect for me just from the work that he's put into it. But yeah, dude, and like he and I get that vibe to like and that's why I watch his stuff. Because he, again, is he a little extra and like over the top? Yeah, but he's just that dude from New York, man. Like JD from New York. Like he's that dude that like he's himself, and that's what I like. I guess long story short, I like the fact that he is is himself. He pulls no punches and he gives no fucks. So I respect it. And yeah, like and again, like was my point was that with that part, I do feel like he comes from a good place when he gives his critiques. Yeah, like it's coming from someone who has put time into the product, and it's not just someone who's just coming on here just to shit on AEW, just to shit on AEW, just to get clicks. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. Um, And you say, all right, Sean, peace out, brother. Hope you have a good day. I'm about to jump off here too in a second. I mean, Ron, you say he's definitely not right all the time. We all have our faults, but to be fair, he gets way too much hate from the community. Yeah, dude. And like the shit that Tony, and I thought it was very telling that Tony Khan, first of all, responded to like some shit that he had posted or whatever on Twitter. And it was like, something to the effect that like he hasn't agreed with his takes from over the years or something. And it's like, wow, Tony, so you're admitting that you've actually watched JD for the past 5 years now, since AEW has been around. So that was pretty interesting and pretty telling. But yeah, dude, Ron, thank you for jumping in, man, and for sticking around for the questions. I appreciate it. I hope you subscribe and I hope you're back. I think I'm gonna make it a goal to kind of be more consistent. At least have one show, since I do it for Brass Ring. One show here that I make it a point to be consistent with, and like, yeah, it's gonna be this day at this time. So I'm gonna try to figure out my work schedule and my life schedule and be a little bit more better with that, and here on my own channel. But I am live every Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. over at Brass Ring Media as well here on YouTube, so you can check me out tomorrow morning. I'll be there again. Tomorrow will be probably a little bit more WWE focused and Survivor Series focused, and doing a prediction show for that. But yeah, man, thank you so much for popping in. Sean, of course, you're a real one. Crispy Cracker. I appreciate you jumping in, and thank you for your feedback as well. Yeah, and like I said, hopefully the storm in the area will clean up soon. But Deron, Kingray, I appreciate you popping in. Everyone, dude, everyone, Aiden, Jesse, you were here earlier. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, guys. If you're gonna go out, it's Black Friday here in the US. If you're gonna go out there, just be mindful that a lot of people get into fights, and if they do, please be respectful for everyone. And when you're recording the fights, do it in horizontal and not vertical, so that way we can watch it and better make it a little bit easier for us to watch when you post it. So keep that in mind. But in all seriousness, guys, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. And just stay safe out there, as I always say, and enjoy some wrestling. Life is crazy as it is. but we have the luxury of getting to check out mentally sometimes and just enjoy some wrestling. So take advantage of that, and take advantage if you have a long weekend. Just recharge and get ready for the work week coming up. I know I will be. But yeah, Duran says, yes, please be safe every Black Friday and take care. Love you all. Yes, everyone be safe. And like I was saying out there, in all seriousness, if you are going to be out there for Black Friday, just be safe. Until next time, guys, stay safe and enjoy some wrestling.